Okay, this time last year, Neymar obviously broke the transfer record with his $250 million transfer fee. I think it was roughly about anywhere between 230 and 250 million pounds or euros, depending on the source you read. Could that record be broken? Could the football transfer record be broken this summer? So far, we've seen some reasonable sized transfers that in years past would be record breaking transfers that are now seen as everyday occurrences. So the transfer market is overinflated. Mahrez has just completed a £60 million signing from Leicester City to Manchester City. 10 years ago, that is a world record fee. Now, that is seen as an average transfer. Uh, we've seen, other clubs in the Premier League pay 40, 50 million pounds so far. A lot of the moves were made before the World Cup. There was a lot of action as soon as the window opened. Some teams getting in there very, very quickly, signing players very early on, and there'll be other teams that will sign later, just after the World Cup's finished, when they've done their scouting on the 8 remaining teams and all the teams that have been there. There's a lot of club scouts from various leagues in Europe currently scouting at this World Cup, scouting players, and we'll be talking to players, agents, and clubs involved as we speak behind the scenes. Will be going on. The rule that's been brought in by the Premier League means that the transfer window has to shut before the season starts. So I'm expecting there to be a flurry of activity as soon as the World Cup ends on the 15th of July up to the second week of August. There's going to be a month worth of crazy activity ahead of us. That will happen. I have no doubts on that. I can see the next 6 weeks being really hectic. The more the World Cup winds down and the closer we get to the final, I'd expect more and more transfer business to take place. Now, one of the other channels that I subscribe to, and he subscribes to me, and we're both sports-based channels, we are having this debate right now about the transfer record. Is it going to be broken? Now, he says it won't be broken this summer. I think it will be broken this summer. I think he doesn't. Either way, within the next 2-3 years, we do expect it to definitely break more than once. There'll be records set. Now, Neymar and Mbappe are rumoured to be linked to Real Madrid. Real Madrid has denied these rumours outright, because to buy those players in, they have to let Ronaldo and Bale basically go, and or Isco. They have to free up a lot of space. Now, Neymar is a non-EU player as well. Barcelona, another club in Spain obviously, have fallen afoul of the non-EU player rule, as in there's a limit on how many overseas non-European players you can have in a squad in European football. Hence why Yerry Mina, I think, has been playing out of his skin for Colombia. He's a Barcelona player, and I think he's played for himself to be put in the shop window to go to a club that doesn't have that issue with the overseas player rule. So I will expect in the next couple of weeks to month a lot of action and a lot of movement in the European transfer market to take place, and I will expect some big numbers for transfer fees to change hands. There are some big name players who are still at the World Cup. The clubs they're at will expect big money for those players. There are some lesser known players at the World Cup that may go for cheap as well, who are starring right now. There's some players who are playing rather well right now who may go for less than what you would expect. The transfer market is overinflated. I think every club is paying too much for players. We're seeing multi-million pound transfers in the Championship now, for an average Championship player going for 10 million. So it is happening at lower leagues that the transfer market is overinflated and clubs are paying too much. But we shall see. I mean, Aston Villa might be selling some players as well, and there are some Premier League calibre players playing at Aston Villa. So some clubs that are in the lower divisions who've been relegated to the tier below from the top tiers, they will offload a lot of players. So a lot of those players will have get-out clauses in their contracts. There's going to be a lot of action happening. And with the Premier League bringing forward the transfer deadline day to before the season starts, we're going to see a lot more action from the British clubs buying and selling. So the other clubs in Europe have to be aware of that. So if they want to buy players from a Premier League club and get them over, they have to do it before a certain date in August, and vice versa for selling. So there's going to be a lot of hectic action, and I wouldn't be surprised if there is at least a British transfer record being broken. Or a national transfer record being broken. I'd say the French well, the French one's gone because that is the record, but any European league, their transfer record for that domestic league being broken at some point, because the bringing forward of the transfer window deadline day I can see it happening. But anyway, it's up to you. Do you think the transfer record will be broken this summer or not? Will it happen in years to come? I'll be very interested to hear. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'm very interested to hear sports fans' thoughts on this, and keep your eyes peeled for more videos and more content. Wimbledon's obviously taking precedence today because there's no football on, which for me, I am actually quite glad that there's no World Cup football on for the next couple of days. It's a bit of a break. It has been. I've covered as many games as possible, and it does actually get a bit exhausting when you're covering over 40 odd games in the space of 2 weeks. It really does drain you. So there is that. I have a bit of a break from football, which is kind of nice, and I can focus on a few other sports as well. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Place your comments below, and I'll have some more videos for you soon.